I feel like first I want to thank God for the period right now that you've come because there's a certain discourse going on. Wait, in fact, no, let me even go back. Let me even go back. I want to thank God and I want to thank my mom as well. It's our prayers.
I brought you here at this time.
I can even
to cause trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of With an S with your Afrobeats Avengers. My name is Deji. I am with my gang.
Dami.
Bola.
And I don't even know if we should call this a special guest because we need a different qualifier.
We need something more.
Yeah, we keep using it over and over and over again, but I don't think it actually qualifies the guest, the magnitude of the guest that we have today. I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you, but I'm just going to get into it. We have a legend in the house, ladies and gentlemen. A songwriter, a rapper, a sneaky good singer. A sneaky good singer, you know. And an entrepreneur who's building out a new frontier for creatives. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, M.I Abaga.
Hey. I'm definitely clipping you. You know what you're saying about the intro?
Yeah.
That was a hard intro. I'm clipping that.
Thank you. But man, this is actually such a special moment for me because, I mean, outside of the fact that, like, I'm just a huge fan of your work, we also have some history, you know, having that we worked at Chocolate City together. But I'm just going to jump straight into it. First and foremost, how are you feeling?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Honestly, I'm great. I'm great. I'm well. I'm in good health. I'm happy. I'm excited about life, excited about the future, excited about y'all. Everything that's happening, excited to be here.
So. Hopefully that feeling stays.
The quiet before the pod started, I was like, these guys are going through their questions. Bro, because you didn't pay taxes,
No, but hopefully it should be fun. But first question, this is something I usually like to ask people. In early school days, kind of like primary school and things like that, people usually get report cards on their character. Yeah. You know, their teacher gives you a report card. I, in my primary school days, got he's intelligent, but he talks way too much, and he likes babes. What was the description for M.I Abaga?
Ooh, that's a good question. In primary school?
Yes, because I was against the early days.
Primary school.
You can do secondary as well.
Wow, okay. Maybe secondary, I remember a little bit more. So secondary school, I was definitely, I wasn't very academically brilliant. So I was smart, but I just didn't get the grades, you know, unless I was really motivated. So we were 80 students in our class. I lived somewhere around the like 50, 60 mark.
So not last.
You know, not last, but I was around there. But I was very like known in the school because I was always like all the dramas, all the music, all that stuff. I was kind of like a notorious, like, you know, like kid that like everyone loved and everyone knew. And I was made a prefect in my last year. And when they announced me as study prefect, the whole school burst out laughing. Everybody was like, yes. Okay, who is it really? But yeah, I don't know, maybe like just, you know, stubborn, loves music, creative. You know, I think people knew I had intelligence. It's just that I just, man, them classes, them reading, I struggled to like, to make it mean something to me.
Is it also one of those things where it's like you're gifted, so you know you can coast? Like you can probably get to it with coasting?
You know, I will say that on some things, but there were genuinely some things where, you know, like if I were to go back again, maybe sometimes it's the teacher, you know, I'm the kind of person that I need to understand the basis first before we start building the tower. So if I miss that, then I'm like, you know what I mean? And then things like chemistry were really difficult for me because in chemistry and biology, you have to accept that the thing is just like, look, carbon does this, but nitrogen does the opposite. And sulfur does it, whatever it wants. And I was just like, this is just memory and recall. It's not using my brain, you know? So yeah, I was up and down. When I would do well on something, I would be like 100. I'd be the top student in the class. Like things like English, stuff like that. Like But physics too, I surprisingly got a really great score one time. I can figure out math if I have enough time, but the things where you just have to memorize.
Yeah.
And a lot of our learning back then was about memory.
Yeah.
And that was just not my strong suit.
Fair. In the past, you've spoken about the necessity of allowing your inner child to guide you, right? And something you've spoken about quite a bit. And I'm wondering, at this stage of your career, what is your inner child telling you? What is it guiding you through?
Listen, first of all, 2 back-to-back bangers. You gotta ask, how is your wife? What do you think about the music industry?
Don't be lying.
What the heck? From the group.
Deep podcast.
No, I love it. I've really been in touch with that guy, for the last 4 or 5 years. And so I can report from him pretty clearly. I think pursue your destiny. Become a better man.
Your child is telling you to become a better man.
Let me even break it down for you. I had a therapy session, right, where the exercise was, and maybe we'll do this. I did it somewhere with a bunch of guys, and it helped them. But the idea is to like envision yourself meeting your inner child. And when it happened, I was really moved because there were a lot of things I was doing at the time that I knew that a 5-year-old Jude would be like, "Come on, man. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you causing us? Why are you doing this with our life?"
Yeah.
Damn. So
that's really
deep. So pursue your purpose, become a better man, leave it all on the floor before you leave. Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, now we can get into some of the music questions.
Yeah.
That you're looking for. But let's talk a bit about I would say your career and your legacy. And I would say that there's a kind of expiry date that people place on rappers in a way that they don't necessarily put on actors, singers, or comedians. So is that something that you've had to push against in your career? And what does it look like to age gracefully in hip hop today?
Ooh, that's a good question. Especially because hip hop is like a young genre, right?
Yeah.
So I think hip hop, we celebrated 50 years few years ago.
2023,
Yeah.
2022.
So that means people that are like Jay-Z, I think is 60 now, around 60. Yeah, he was 57 recently.
No way.
Right? How old is Jay?
We'll check in a second. He's in his 50s.
50s, okay. But
You're doing the
but that
camera
means,
thing back in the day. Wait, I did 15 years.
but contrast that, yesterday I was talking to someone from Kenya and they were talking about the fact how if you're a 50-year-old president in Africa, you're a young president.
Absolutely.
Right? So you think about it that way, hip-hop is a really young genre, right, compared to the rest. And aging gracefully is happening right before our eyes. Now, the music business the entertainment business, the creative arts are just difficult to age in as a whole. It's like tasking on your mental health, it's tasking on your energy, it's tasking on your self-identity. And people fall, even in Hollywood, people, even in acting, even in other genres, people fall off, So for me, it's just been about my philosophy, whatever occurs, look forward, keep moving. There's still more. There's still more to do. You always have something that you want to do, And I think the difficulty is that when you become a celebrity or when you go into the arts or into the creative industry, at first you are validated by other people's opinions, But I think aging gracefully is about reaching the point where you're like, oh, when I actually turn on the light in the arena, there was no one there except the young version of me watching. And that was the person that was clapping the whole time. And that's who I should be performing for.
Yeah.
And then I think the rest of the path becomes clear. It's no longer about okay, this album needs to be top of the charts. It's I created this body of work and I want to be able to feed my family and I want to make it meaningful. And I feel life becomes better,
Yeah. I get that.
With that perspective.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So at this stage of your career, what inspires you to keep going and keep putting pen to paper? Why haven't you stopped? Not that we want you to.
This is a very good question because in fact, I would say that there's a lane which I've stopped,
Okay.
So when I was younger, when you're a young artist, you're coming up, you're talking about You're like the voice of your generation. The partying, the falling in love, the hopes, everything. And I feel like sometimes we get to a point and we still want to be like the young energy. We still want to be like, you know, and I sort of let go of that version of M.I, you know, and I made up my mind that there was nothing more for me to add now to that lane of music that a Black Bones isn't going to do.
Okay,
Or
okay.
an Odumodu isn't going to do. You know, like I've had my time to contribute to shaping the zeitgeist for my generation, but there's still more for me to do. Number one, I make excellent bodies of work.
That's
and they
true.
inspire other artists.
Very true.
You know, and
Very
so
true.
if those works come to me, I still need to give them to people. Number two, I still need to age gracefully because there are going to be many other rappers that are going to come to a point in their career where they're like, what do I do next? And just the same way I can look at a Jay-Z and be like, this is how he transitioned, you know, hopefully I can be one of those people that people can look at and be like, hey, okay, I got to the point, you know, I was stuck. I didn't know what else to do, but there's more to do, you know?
Yeah.
And last but not least, I'm experiencing life as well. And you know, this is something I didn't expect to happen, that when I stopped trying to be a celeb, in a way, like when I was like, okay, M.I is done in a way. Like M.I is done. What else do I do? And I started doing that thing. I became even more inspired to make new music. And actually, it made sense because you became an artist in the first place because you were inspired by your life. But funnily, when you become a celebrity, then your life becomes like back of the SUV, the hotel suit. You know what I mean? And how inspiring really is that? Like, how much of your soul does that contribute to? It gives you comfort. But you hardly see a young artist starting out being like, man, I'm making my music because I'm just so comfortable. You know what I mean? It's always a fire. It's something pushing you. So we sort of success moves us away from inspiration. And sometimes letting go of the success and going to the next thing is how you re-inspire yourself.
That's a great answer, to be honest. Yeah.
Jay-Z's 55, by the way.
55. I was 5 years old. Sorry, we're trying to age you too quickly.
He tried. It wasn't that bad. I feel like, first, I want to thank God for the period right now that you've come, because there's a certain discourse going on. Wait, in fact, no, let me even go back. Let me even go back. I want to thank God, and I want to thank my mom as well. It's a prayer.
I brought you here at this time. I can even to cause trouble.
Can go deeper because a certain what's his name again? Odumodu.
What's his name again?
He had a feature on a song with Fowls, Anything Goes, and he spoke about going face to face with his mommy. Now, mommy Dio, Prodigy. That's my mom, see,
really?
Because she has brought us here to this moment right now.
Bro, he kills me.
No, you can say hallelujah. You can say hallelujah.
Oh my God.
No, wait.
God protect me. I know where this is going.
No, you know where it's going. I know where. I don't have to lead you. I felt like I had to hold your hand a bit. I don't know what you want to make it look like. But so basically, obviously, you know that there's been discourse about Declan Rice, and there's been discourse about just rap culturally, and different songs having as much of an impact in the industry. What would you say about, firstly, I'm going to put you on the spot here, about Declan Rice being the most culturally impactful song in rap?
You know, this is what I'll say, first of all, that I am a huge fan of Odumodu Black and of his reign, let me call it that. Like his reign as at the top of hip hop right now. When I was young and at the top, I released a song called African Rapper Number One. You know, I feel like what we're watching is a hip hop artist express himself in the way the genre requires.
That's
you know,
true.
to get to the top and assert that you're at the top. You know, and in that way, you know, the reason you see me hesitate and watch, because that is what I want to contribute to. Like, I'm so happy that we have great rappers who are doing great things, breaking records, and are able to create their own African rapper #1 statements. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. As I did,
I get that.
I can. I have no fault in that. You know, the rest of it is completely subjective. Like, for instance, Declan Rice didn't come out in a time where, like, I was so active in the music business where I can even, like, if people are assessing it, I can assess against, like, the charts, the impact, you know, like, let's say, like, a song like Oleku or, like, Netosi's Skinny Big Deal.
Yeah.
Which were, like, massive records of their own time. So I'm not even the right person for you to ask because I don't know as much. I know that that song went on to, like, I mean, it's mythical in its own way.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? It's its own thing. And I love the record as well. For me, if I were to think of what the most impactful hip-hop songs from my perspective, it is very difficult for me to see past Skinny Big Deal, which, at least from my perspective, when I look at a Declan Rice, I feel that the statement people are trying to make about it being global is exactly what Skinny Big Deal did at its time. Everybody was wearing the Nedosi hats. Everybody was saying P in their language. The whole continent was shut down with Skinny Big Deal, you know? And it was a global record. It was one of those records that opened us to the world. And then after that, you have Oleku, which is like 20 years later, you know? But is it wrong for an Odumodu who's put out this record that's changed his life, has risen to the top of the charts, has been cultural experience stretching into football, it's a massive thing for him to say, this is the biggest rap song from perspective. If you take it from the perspective of, are you factually correct? You have an argument. But if you take it from the perspective that this is a rap king doing what rappers do, which is to get to the top of the mountain and say, look at what I've done. He's fulfilling hip hop by saying that, you know. I have I have nothing to take away from him saying that. I hear it that way. The same way I said African rapper #1, or Ice Prince came and said Oleku, or like so many rappers at so many times. You know what I mean? Rugged Man, Mode 9, Idris, like you get to the top and then you beat your chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the genre for that. And he's earned it. You know, he's earned the right to hail himself how he sees fit.
So if you were to hail yourself, what would you say your own most impactful rap song has been?
Look, man, I feel like you want to get into a place where your songs are not just like statistically relevant, but they become like when I was a young kid, they used to be like, Sweet Mother. You guys know that record?
Yeah, of course.
Isn't that crazy?
First he is Jay-Z, now he's down.
To me, that's the goal, to make songs like that. And for me, I feel like I have African rapper #1 in that space. I have One Naira in that space.
Yes.
I have Nobody with Two Face in that space. Like really, truly evergreen songs. Like Action Film, Undisputed Champion, and you know, I'm very, very grateful to the Most High. I'm grateful to my team, everyone that played a role in contributing to my career and having a real evergreen catalog. You know, like I was just thinking about the fact that I'm 20 years next year, but I still will go on a show with like Gen Z artists, you know what I mean, and perform, and everybody's rapping my lyrics. You know, it's quite something. It's humbling. You know? Yeah.
So you said there's too much. You can't pick. You can't pick.
No, I'm grateful.
Fair.
Yeah. But I think one thing I feel you've done really well is like also evolve over the years. Like you haven't like stuck to one specific sound. I think especially when you did the Rendezvous album and you got all the Alte faves into one. And it just shows that like, you know, you're not stuck in one specific mindset of creating music. So I think that's helped as well.
My philosophy has always been like that truly, before I even got in the game, I was exceedingly confident in my own pen. And I always felt like I could be a conduit for many artists that people hadn't heard through collaboration. So I took every collaboration really serious. Like really, I would be like, when I used to do illegal music, if people would write a verse and I felt like, man, I'm about to smoke you, I'll be like, bro, write again. You know what I mean? because what I want is for people to come on the track and be like, who is this? Who is this person going at like, and so Rendezvous was one expression of it, but Rendezvous was also, it was a gift that was both ways because then I got to work with Teiwar, with Odunsi, with GMK, all these like leaders of the new school who also like fed into me musically and helped me evolve and become better as an artist.
Exactly.
Speaking of Rendezvous, I feel like, I don't know if it's urban myth or I actually remember seeing this somewhere. I think you had an album ready to go or a project ready to go and you went and got feedback from them and they were like, oh, it's whack.
It's not even that he said it was, he didn't say it was whack. He said, Odunsi said.
Odunsi, I'm sure.
Odunsi the Indian, who to me is, I mean, I have the deepest respect for him artistically.
He's one of the greatest producers this country has produced, easily.
If that producer self, if I use the word, I'll say he's one of the greatest creatives.
Period, yeah.
Right, because Odunsi is like, when he tells you an idea, it has a sound, it has a color, it has styling, it has an emotion with it. It's all encompassing.
Holistic.
So I was close to the end of my album. I've recorded all these tracks and I wanted to mix. And someone was like, okay, there's these new guys that are mixing, you should get one of them to come. So GMK came with Odunsi and their job was to help me finish out the production and mix. And so I still remember Odunsi came, he was not even like, this was sitting down in the corner. And so we get into it. He listened to the album from top to bottom. And when I was done, he was like, can I say something?
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, for sure. And God had already helped me because let me tell you, I had another person that was like that before him, Millie.
Okay.
So when I would work with Millie, I worked with Millie on the Chairman album.
Yeah.
So on the Chairman album, Millie would just be like, M.I no, be like, now old school be that, M.I, young is number one here. Millie was really like very bold and he would challenge me creatively. So I was like, yeah, tell me. He was like, look, you put out a picture. I put out the picture on the study of self. That when Annie Roberts took the picture, I just put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he said, when I saw the picture, it impacted me. And this is not the album. So he's like, you need to make this album. And so that's even like, if somebody called my music whack, you know what I mean? Like, if I call you to come and listen to an album, I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if it'll qualify as whack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what he was saying was like, I don't think from a creative perspective and a fan of yours, I don't think this is where you should be creatively. I think there's somewhere else we can go. And I just looked at him, I was like, do you know the direction to where we need to go? And he was like, yes.
Wow.
And I was like, let's go.
Whoa.
And
That's
so
crazy.
we recorded the study on self and Rendezvous as one project, basically. And when I was done, I was like, oh, these are two different things.
Yeah.
So that's why in 2018, I think it was, that both those projects came out around the
Same
same
here.
time. Yeah.
Oof. We're going to get back into that in a second.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a rich conversation there.
Yeah.
But I want to pivot now into, I guess, heading Chocolate City.
Yeah.
So being that I have like a little like knowledge of the situation, at the time people would criticize you a lot, as leading while you were leading the company. But like I said, having that inner knowledge, I know it was deeper than what people saw because to be honest, the financials just weren't there at the time. Then afterwards, there's the Warner merger that happens. And this is a personal one that I've always wanted to know. Like, having carried this thing on your shoulder for all those years, and then the money kind of comes in and then you're no longer carrying it on your shoulder. I just have to know, like, what was that period like for you?
Bro, the day I left Chocolate City, I wept.
Oh.
It was like, as I'm even saying, as you can see, I'm getting emotional
Yeah, a
now.
little bit.
I realized that I still have emotions about it. As you were asking the question,
Yeah.
I cried. I wept to my soul. It was like building up to a life and realizing that the life is over and I've given everything. There is is it a poem? I'm trying to remember where the line says, like, you've made a fool of me and you've made a fool of like all my choices or something like that. And I used to remember that. I'll try to remember where it comes from, but it was like, from the moment I joined Chocolate City, I was like, CC baby, Chocolate City to the ba ba ba. You know, I brought my family. The people lived in my house. I used my equipment. When it came to the time, it was our studio. You know, becoming the CEO was a deeper sacrifice than people realize. But there was already a first sacrifice. So the first sacrifice for me was when we got on, all of us were really popular. Ice, Jesse, myself. And look, before I say this, let me say to you that you have to hear what I'm saying from my perspective. I'm not saying I was right, but I'm sharing with you how I saw the world, because there are many different perspectives. You know, I was a human being too, very flawed, and different people had different perspectives about things. But from my perspective, we got to a point where, based on the resources and the team we had, there was now we were stuck. Jesse, Ice Prince, M.I. Are we going to compete against each other? And the energy had started being in our teams. So I said to myself, I'm going to take 2 years off. So between 2012 and 2015, to myself, I was like, I told everybody, I'm going to go found a label, Loopy Music. We have some people left in Jos, and I'm going to sort of stay out of the way because I'm already MI. You know, Ice Prince is coming into his MI moment. Jesse also is trying to figure out, you know, like sound-wise, you know, Jesse is like a force. If Jesse was like, okay, what do I do? Am I going to expand my production at the time, at least as I remember it? And so coming into 2015 now, my album is coming back, the Chairman album. And as the Chairman album is about to come out, Audu says, hey, MI, I need to step down. I need you to be the CEO of the company. Second sacrifice. Because now as the CEO of the company, even though I have music to push, how can I, when there's 10 million naira in the account, how can I put out my own video when Dice hasn't put out his video, or CKay needs a place to stay, or, you know, and so coming into 2019, I did not see a world. I was Chocolate City. Chocolate City was in me, it was my blood, it was everything. And, you know, as things happen, connived to happen one day, I was like, whoa, this is the end. So it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. Honestly, I would not lie to you. No one has asked me this question this way, but the truth is that
in this position.
Yeah. Like, it broke my heart.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to heal.
Yeah.
You know, in retrospect, I'm very grateful that it happened, because Abuchi went on to do magic. I'm very proud of what Audu and Paul have done as well. And there are so many things about my time as a leader and how to work with other leaders in a space that I needed to learn and I need to grow and evolve. And also, I really feel like, you know, there's a story in the Bible where somebody served 2 cycles of 7 years to get his wife. Do you remember the story of, I think it's Jacob? He wanted to marry Rachel or something.
Yes.
And then he served 7 years. Then the master tricked him and gave him.
Yeah.
Then he served another 7 years. And if you want to be, you want to analogize it, you can say, after my 7 years, when I thought I was going to be my moment, I was now given the company to run. Mm-hmm. And after my 7 years of doing that again, I was now given my own project task. You know.
Yeah.
So I sort of look at it that way. That look, in life, you're gonna really want some things for yourself, and the fact of life that you will have to let go is part of what makes you become who you need to become. You know, it's a gift that no one should even take away from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe the worst thing that could have happened to me would have still been in Chocolate City up till now, because there are things I would not have evolved into.
Yeah.
Maybe there are behaviors I had that would have been the ruin of me.
Yeah.
You know, there are ways I saw leadership or things that I wouldn't have learned, or resilience I wouldn't have built on my own. But yeah, thank you for asking that, because I actually, you know, this is what I say about therapy. Sometimes you never say something that happened to you, and it's by saying it that you sort of let go of the emotion. And as you were asking the question, I was like, oh, this thing still, I still feel it, you know.
You won't be smart, I can't lie to you. But I think one thing about that period that because I came directly after, so I came after the Warner merger. But one thing that definitely stuck through, even after you weren't at the helm anymore, was the spirit that you left behind, because there was a crazy startup energy that was there, where it's like you were putting people in position who aren't even particularly ready.
Yeah.
You know, but because of that, they just had to rise to the occasion. Like Isosa, for example, he has just stories for days. One of the best stories. I hope he's not mad at me for telling this. You asked him to go do some radio promo, and he couldn't figure it out for the longest time. And he's like, yo, if you don't, and you told him, like, if you don't figure this thing out, and threat, just insert. And then he goes to the radio station, and he's like, Omo, then go fire me. I guess, like, this P has to be here. And he doesn't look up at that with any disdain, or it's like, this guy put the battery in my back, and he empowered me in that way. So, I mean, if anything, that legacy remains. You
Look,
know?
I definitely, like, this is one of the reasons why people have attacked me over time. I push people, you know? I push people because I don't see the weak version of them when I talk to them, you know? I see the strong version of them. And again, as I'm saying, I'm learning how to do that the right way, you know? But the other side of it as well is that you can't push someone unless you invest in them. So Isosa and I brought Isosa into the company, you know, as well. So I'm so proud of him and what he's gone on to do. Like, you know what I mean? And the Chocolate City alum from that period is insane. They run the music business today, you know? So it's so humbling to me to see where Dapo is, Wendy, Toda, like all of us that were Debbie, like all of us that were of that time, you know. I feel there was really something special that spilled out of that. I mean, even look at Abuchi. Abuchi is like, he was our business dev lead. He was sort of like our operations guy at the time. And he's gone on to be, like, I would say probably the best performing CEO in the history of Nigerian music, quiet as kept.
Wow.
You know,
that's
quiet
a
as
big,
kept.
big compliment.
Quiet as kept.
Fizz. That was our first guest on the show, by the way. Shout out to Abuchi. So next question I want to ask you, just pivot a bit more. Hopefully it's lighter. You talked about, in the past, you talked about Black Bones and his work ethic, and how that was one of the things that I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to work with this guy. But I don't know that I've ever really heard you talk about CKay and what it was that drew you to him and wanting to work with him.
Ooh, okay. So my story with CKay, one day I come into the Chocolate City office that was just down the road here, actually.
Yeah. Remember that.
And Moti Cakes plays me a beat. And I'm like, who made this beat? It was the beat for Third Mainland Bridge, that song on the CBN.
Yeah.
And I turn and it's just this kid sitting there. You know, I'm like, man, if this kid can make beats, we need to keep him around. I just said so with Moti. The next time I heard about him, someone was telling me, that kid is 16 or 17 at the time. He came to Lagos and he basically, he planned his move to Lagos without telling his parents. He saved up money, rented an apartment, bought his equipment, and when he arrived in Lagos, he sent them a message, I've moved to Lagos.
Damn.
But he got scammed.
Oh, I don't know this part of the story.
Oh my God.
So he was stranded.
Yikes.
So I was like, oh, come stay with me. So he stayed with me for a year. Him, Millie, Reinhard. And in that time, CKay, he always knew where he wanted to go, but in that time he was serving as a producer.
Yeah.
So we got him to come to Lupi. He started working at the Lupi Studios in Bagada, and he was just serving. He'd serve Coca, make beats for Coca, make beats for excuse me, make beats for Dice. A couple years later, I'm talking to Lambo and the whole team about setting up different, because for me, I was like, look, we're not going to win outspending the game. At this time, the band was going crazy, promo money, Davido had just entered the game. They were doing and undoing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, we're not going to outspend these guys.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can outstructure everybody. Let's build really strong pipelines, better production, better marketing, better, you know, and we were spending a lot of time. Taiwo, Momo, everybody's like trying to figure out how can we do marketing in a spread out way and attack it that way. And Lambo was just like, I really believe in CKay. CKay is going to be a star. And I was like, okay. She's like, that's the first artist. I told her, I would love you to be the head of the CBN movement. And she was like, I'll do it if you let me sign CKay.
Wow.
So then, to be honest with you, I hadn't even seen what she had seen. So now CKay comes into the fray. And I think Toda, who was the head of music at the time, has the best explanations of CKay. She would say, like, CKay was always prepared for every meeting. He was always very detailed. He would never let the emotional context of what was happening outweigh the logic behind what was happening. And he just kept moving towards his career. If we had 200,000 naira, he would be like, okay, how can we use this 200,000 naira for this? How can he just kept steady moving. He would try, fail, iterate, try, fail. His first song, Nkechi Turn Up, it has a more like Eastern high life vibe. Didn't get what he wanted, came back. Container don't land, he don't land. Complete change.
Yeah, picked up.
Didn't get what he wanted. Iterated, came back with the new like boyfriend vibe CKay that we've seen.
Yeah.
And the rest was history. I had lunch with him in Houston few months ago. And it was just like sitting with him now as a global superstar. And it was a real like full circle moment for me. I'm very, very proud of him. He knows I told him that I'm very, very proud of him and what he's become, what he's done. And grateful, like it could have been all these artists, Black Bones and CKay and Lambo and Dice and all these artists that you have the privilege to work with and play a role in their lives. Like, it really is an honor for me, you know. I know that there's a way that the world looks at it, which says like, oh, if you have the platform, you are important, But as someone that didn't have the platform and had the talent, and still felt like I was important, when I see someone that doesn't have the platform and has the talent, I realize they are what's important, And so, yeah.
Amazing.
Quick follow-up. Was it nice to be proven right? Was it nice? Because they said, who the fuck is CKay? You told them who the fuck you are.
I mean, imagine how he feels, right? Like, I was in the moment, I was arguing, but he was the CKay that was spoken about. And imagine, like, the loudest voice in the music business at the time, saying, what? Who the F is this guy? And now he has the largest Afrobeat song of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, between him and Calm Down.
Yeah, one of the two. We go back and forth at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You see how he's been cheating at me? This man knows me. He knows where to come from. But yeah, those are really good questions.
Yeah, bringing it back to present day, you have this new talented artist, Louis, who signed to you under Incredible Music. And it feels like you're taking on that mentor, that CEO role once again. So tell us about him, tell us how you're managing him, and based on, the lessons that you learned from being CEO at Chocolate City, like how are you approaching this differently or the same? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So let me first talk about Loye. Everybody, please go check out Loye. His handle is only Loye. I met Loye 4 years ago, and what happened is a friend of mine called me, and she was like, she's not in the music business. She was like, there's a talented artist here. Now, I get calls like this, like...
A lot. I can imagine.
And a lot of times, what's talented to other people isn't talented to me.
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like, because I have to assess it against everybody else I know that's in the field, right? So, like for me, if you're going to introduce an artist to me, it's not just their talent. It has to be their traction. It has to be their community. It has to be their personality, all those things. So I was sort of like, whatever. But I said, I either asked her to send me a video or put him on the phone or something like that. And in 10 seconds, I'm telling you, like, so my prediction about Loye is that Loye is going to be like Ed Sheeran big. Wow. Like, he's going to be like Justin Bieber big. That's my prediction. But from Kaduna, I didn't even know his story at the time. From Kogi, actually, I think his mom was in Kogi at the time. But he has a Kaduna side to his story as well. So I was like, okay, this is a very talented kid. And anytime I meet a talented kid, I always try to help. I always try to help. So I said, can you come meet me with your manager? And he came and met me. I said, hey, what do you want to do? And he told me, look, I have an offer from a record label, but I really want to get signed to Maven or to YBNL. So I hit Don Jazzy up. I don't know if Jazzy remember this. I was like, hey, there's this kid that wants to get signed to you, and on my recommendation, I would think that he's someone you should pay attention to. Jazzy's response at the time, which later came to reveal itself in fullness to me as the absolute truth, was like, look, we have an academy. It's not a great time for us to look at new talent, I didn't even know all the REM. Okay, I think I knew known REM at the time, but everything that they're doing, Maven is an amazing institution, So I hit up Bado. Same sort of answer. I want to remember really well exactly, but both of them are like communities. They have a lot on their hands, and I think timing was just the right time. I think I sent Badu a message and Don Jazzy a message on IG, and we communicated that way. Now I come back to Louis and I'm like, hey, look, I just don't have an opportunity, and I would love to help, but I don't have a label. There's nothing I can do. If you're gonna come with me, you have to take a chance on me the way I'm going to take a chance on you too, and it's probably going to take us a very long time. You're probably not going to make money in 2-3 years. I want you to know, like, I'm not going to be able to fund you the way other people are going to fund, and we're just going to have to figure it out as we go along.
Figure it out.
And him and his guys, they looked around each other. He was like, let's do it.
On the spot?
It took, so I tried to make sure that everything is right by the artist. So I then tried to get him a lawyer.
Okay.
In fact, as we were talking, there was a lawyer there. That lawyer was like a fanboying me at the first meeting. He hadn't read the contract. So we literally had to fire the lawyer on behalf of Louis.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure like anything he says, just sign it.
Yeah, because the guy, a lot of times, like, think about it from the position of a lawyer, right? Like, okay, this kid wants to work with M.I, and the kid cannot pay me. The only person that has money here is M.I. So whatever makes the deal not go through stops me from getting paid. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you think about it from that perspective, it's only rational. It's not like if I defend this kid against M.I, do you know what I mean? Me and you are still gonna, like, I'm probably have to give you TP to go back home. But that's not what Louis needed. He needed someone that would look through whatever I was sharing with him and be able to explain it to him and say, I'm here on your benefit. So we found someone, we paid the person on behalf of Louis. They went through the contract, someone we really trusted. Tammy Rubio helped. She found someone in her community, got Louis in, and we did like a small event. We celebrated it, and we had told Louis 2 years of development, 2 years, which I think he's going into a year and a half of the second 2 years. And I was like, I'm gonna get you all the way till you get an international record deal, and then I'm gonna give you back the equity that is no longer, as a label, you have to hold on to a certain portion. I'll give that back to you. I'll help you set up your own thing and go forward. And I can play a role if you want me as part of your team, manager or whatever. So we're still on course with that.
Yeah.
We have a partnership now with Chocolate City last year for his EP. And I keep telling Nabuchi, I keep telling everyone, like, look, if my word is to be taken for anything, Louis, pay attention. He's just so talented. He can rap, he can sing, he can dance, he keeps evolving. And a lot of times talented kids like myself, like, we don't have it all figured out. Like, I was terrible with visuals and terrible with styling, so you need help, and if you get in the wrong hands, it becomes about your faults rather than about your strengths. So with us at the task team, I mean, even though I'm talking, there's a young lady here called Fanny who takes massive amount of credit with the rest of his team. He has a very, very passionate group of brothers around him too as well. some of them, as it happens, brothers, they spread, they go on to do other things.
Yeah.
But few brothers that came with him that, over time, they still keep supporting him.
Yeah.
And he's a story, like, when I got to know him more, I even became more sure of where he's going,
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, check out Louis, follow
Awesome.
Louis. He has a new song, Left and Right out right now.
Dope
That's
song.
banger.
Dope song.
You know what I mean? Banger.
Just quick notes on Loya as well. He has one of my favorite bars of all time, like damn near philosopher level. He says, "If I no get money, I still get my G's. Cause loneliness, now real poverty, bro." It hits me, yeah,
Bro.
yeah. I was like, what,
Bro.
Why do you have that kind of information,
Bro,
Who are you?
Because they survived by being a pack. I get really heartbroken when I see like the young men of Nigeria on the streets of Lagos. Like if you wake up in the morning to run around, you just see young boys. I saw one yesterday, oh my gosh, just lying on the side of the road, just alone, truly alone in this world, But when you see 5 of them, even if they're poor, you see them laughing, sharing.
Yeah.
And there's something powerful in that. And I think Loye has lived in that. Loye, to become an artist, he's run away from home in his own way to, he was almost killed in Kaduna, which is why he came to Lagos. In a story that he was sharing in his own time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That is a very deep part.
Bro.
Loneliness is real poverty.
So let's get back to you now and talk about some of your projects. Let's talk about it.
I was going to say, I hope it's not talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I always be
Sorry,
about
sorry.
that joke.
But yeah, about your first album, you've called it your least creative album. And you say that when you hear it now, you cringe because, you spot so many flaws. So, but for a lot of us,
Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
you're
let's talk
right,
about it.
You're
Yeah.
right. I got yeah.
So yeah, what would you say like these flaws are? And like if let's say with the information you know now, what would you have done differently, when recording that?
Let me reframe you. It's God that made you ask me this question, so I can say it properly.
Okay, great.
If you talk to parents tell you that they make their mistakes on their first child.
Yeah.
I mean, living.
Me too.
Oh my God.
That sentence was a bit traumatic. I was like,
When you said it, I was like,
So that's what I mean about talk about it. It's not that. It's my first child. The love I have for it is unconditional. But at the same time, I can also recognize that that's where I was completely learning.
Okay.
It was my first time. And it might be the most important M.I album, to me, because it opened the door for everything else to happen, right?
Yeah.
But as the creator, when I looked at M.I 2, I was like, I could have done this better. I talk about it, and M.I 2. Then I look at M.I 2, I'm like, oh, I could have completed this. Then Chairman.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have then Rendezvous. Oh, I can do this. Then The Guy. Then The Wolf, So I think that's what I'm trying to say to people. I'm trying to say to people is that your first work, even if everybody's like, oh my God, your own perspective as an artist is to be like, what did I get wrong? And how can I improve?
At what point do you just sit back and be like, actually, I made an amazing body of work and it's okay. There's nothing else to improve on this. Are you always in that improvement mindset about your projects?
See, that's why I back to the analogy of the children, right? When you have your firstborn, it's your firstborn. You can't say, how can I improve this child? Break your heart now. Do you know what I mean? Let me break your heart.
You can't. But you're not supposed to.
Let me put a bionic arm, man. Your eyes, let me get one of your cousin's eyes and put in your own head. It's like the work is perfect, but you, the parent, can improve.
Fair.
So
Fair.
if I'm not saying it, because the fact you're asking me the questions means that, obviously you're asking from what I've shared. So this is an opportunity for me to further clarify. Talk about it is amazing. It's perfect. It's complete.
I agree.
But the maker of it can improve.
Fair.
Okay.
And that's what I'm trying to say.
Makes sense.
And I'm sharing it with people to say that even after you've made your best work, you can improve.
Yeah.
And that should be your mission, to keep getting better.
Makes sense.
Oh, more the kind question.
I know.
Now, me, I could say I know they sweat for her. Oh, boy. Now, only
I'll tell you something. One of the producers that we had, one of the greatest producers in Nigeria, after he left, he's like, "Omo, this feels like a deposition."
No, but it's. I mean, I say so as a compliment to you guys because truly, like, I have to be present in this conversation. So many times you go for an interview and it's just like, so tell us,
what inspired the
may
project?
we meet you? What's here? May we meet you? Oh my Lord! May we meet you, man? So when you speak to people that are having a conversation, I think it leaves something in you, and I definitely am really enjoying this. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I bet clip it too. Thank you so much. So I'm going to skip MI2 because I felt like talk about it on MI2, two of the greatest albums to ever come out of Africa. I can't even put it down to Nigeria because, and I'm saying greatest albums, remove a rap set just as bodies of work as well. Going to Chairman, especially when you had that space that was left, of course, you've spoken about that as well. I feel like there might have been a bit more pressure just in terms of, okay, you have two back-to-back bangers that everybody's like, everybody agrees. Anybody that you ask that says those two albums are not, throw them in the bin. Clearly, they are. So going to Chairman, would you say that you got the... it was as you expected, just in terms of how everyone received it?
Yeah. So the mistakes on Chairman itself had to do with reception. Like, I put out a single called Chairman that wasn't on the album and wasn't even really in the flow of the album. I think I was trying to set up the story of the album, which is that, look at me, I'm a chairman. So that when people come into the album, they discover that I'm telling a story of I'm a kid that came from nothing and all glory goes to the chairman, And there was so much going on. We never really told the story. So I can see, like, in my opinion, that album is perceived not through the lens of its own merit, but through the lens of the narrative around it, Now, artistically, to the maker, now to the parents, So there's a child that, let's say my third child now, when my third child was coming out, I named him, just using this analogy, made nobody vex. I named him Bola at the time when everybody's angry at the president.
Fair.
So, you know what I'm saying? So it's not the child's fault. Even me, the parents, it's not my fault. You know what I'm saying? But it's a real thing now. Everywhere Bola goes, people are like, that Bola.
You guys are laughing too much now.
I'm sorry.
The analogy or whatever, Muhammadu, I'm using any president, Jonathan or whatever. I'm just saying presidents are normally very, maligned and critiqued by the people. So, but let's talk about the body of work, the chairman. What I was trying to achieve was like artistic orchestration of a story that was very complex, that touched so many people that I've been connected with. And that album, ooh, my Lord, it is a creative marvel. To have Sound Sultan and Two-Face on Human Being. Like, to have Brother with Millie and Nosa. It lives on. Like, Chairman is an album that it's like the child that nobody pays attention to in the family, but that's the one that's going to do the thing, and I return to like Millionaire Champagne, Sarkodie, M.I, Ice Prince. It's like, it really is an amazing body of work. Shakpe with Reminisce, The Middle with Olamide, it was just, and working on it, writing those songs, getting Sarah's produced on some of it, Studio Magic, E. Kelly, I had my own guys, Reinhardt, L3, myself, G plus Chang, we're all collaborating on this project, getting all these collaborations, getting them to line up into this story we're telling of this two-sided narrative of, every song on this side is an opposite of this other song. So getting everybody to sort of like want to do the record and be on the album and at the same time was really, 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 really a Herculean effort. And, but then I think in now putting it out, and remember, I put out the album in October, and in January I was the CEO of Chocolate City. So my rollout was completely impacted by that.
Yeah.
As soon as I became the CEO, marketing my album, which up until then, marketing my album was the top thing on Chocolate City's agenda. As soon as I became CEO, it became the bottom thing on Chocolate City's agenda. And look, I'm not saying so for any like violin or anything. Like, I'm saying so as someone that's proud. Remember, I told you like that decision introduced me to CKay. It introduced me to Dice. It introduced me to Momo. It introduced me to Wendy, to Dapo, to it. It gave me so much life. Like I gave something and received something boundlessly more than I could even imagine. Even if people don't understand, I use that as a broad statement, but the person that receives it has to be able to look at it and be like, look, now I've even gone on to extend myself through many other people's careers because of the sacrifice of taking this leadership role.
Absolutely.
So I'm very, very grateful for that process and that album too as well. I think technically for me, Chairman is the best of the three leading up to it. Technically for me, even though MI2 is like,
bro.
MI2 is like, you know what I mean? And talk about it like, you know what I mean? But just technically, what we're trying to achieve, Chi Girl on the first track, it's like the it's Orisha Femi and Frank Edwards on the Chairman, the last track. Very, very beautiful project that I was proud to be part of.
I love that. Okay, so obviously you've spoken about Rendezvous as well. And the fact that you said that you worked on that and Young Denzel together is kind of wild to me because, again, as you said, they're two completely like, one is here, the other one is in Australia or something like that. Two completely different projects. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the fact that you could still kind of come up with both of those concepts at the same time. So we've spoken a bit about Rendezvous, so I want to focus on young Denzel a bit. Just looking at how, shall I say, away from the normal commercialized project that it actually was, from like the long-winded titles, you actually had to pay attention to everything because everything linked as well. Would you say that was on purpose for you, knowing that, okay, this might not get that commercial acclaim, but this is still important for me to put out?
Would you like some water?
He asked a very deep question. And if you don't mind, I want to answer to the creative that's watching us.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Okay, please.
So, dear creative, the goal of the artist is to create the definitive work that cannot be surpassed. That's your mission. Your mission is not to make money. Your mission is not to be popular. It's not to be famous. It's to create something that's so good because only you can do that. That when it's done, it's done. Nobody else can come and try to do that thing again. It's been done. And a lot of times when you want to do that, at the time, it may be the wrong time. People may say, how is this going to make money? How is this going to do well for you? Okay. Remember that. And when the art comes to you, make it and put it out. Make it and put it out. Now, Study on Self, as I age, becomes the album that wherever I am in the world, if somebody wants to get to know M.I, because if I play them talk about it, they miss so much cultural context. It's like, how can I go back and understand Nigeria and the lingo? How can I understand Safe? Like, if somebody listening to Safe today is not in the moment and understands that you linked all these songs, or MI2 is like, okay, African rapper number one, but if I'm not a fan of High Life, I don't get like who Flavor is, But I can say, go listen to Study on Self. And immediately they're like, I know who this artist is. I'm talking about like, if I'm talking to the CEO of Google today, and the CEO is like, oh, you make music? Tell me, what do you play? I can be like, hey, go check. I have an album called Study on Self. And the minute they press play, do you know who you are?
Literally.
They're like, whoa, this artist is amazing. I believe that even as the world grows, it may even come and be the most successful project I have. And I battled all those questions as I made it. As I was making Rendezvous, I had a friend of mine who told me, she just called me one day. In fact, she was like closer to someone else. She was dating someone else in the camp. And she just called me one day and she's like, M.I, I don't know why I'm calling you, but I want to kill myself. And I was like, whoa. So over the next like 2 months, I would just try, like every morning I'll call her and we'd just talk on the phone. And I'd never really interfaced with like I'd never really looked internally in a very concerted way. But I'm like, how can, your life is so perfect. How can you want to kill yourself? And then I went to leadership fellowship called the Tutu Fellowship. And I was having a conversation with someone and she gave us a test. And when I saw my results, I'm like, that doesn't really feel like me, you know? So I went to speak to her and she was like, she's like, you're firstborn. How old is your younger brother? I said, he's 3 years younger than me. Then she's like, oh, do you deal with issues of abandonment? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, it's a common thing. When a child is first, their emotional core starts to form when they're 3. But most times that's when your parents, if you have another child, that's when your parents leave you and they start carrying the baby. Now, from the eyes of a child, it feels like my world, I'm carried by my parents, I'm loved by my parents. All of a sudden, I'm dropped to the side. And now the attention has moved to someone else. Just when your parents are like, okay, this is good for you. You are now, you can stand on your own. But up until that moment, you don't know what stand on your own means. Do you know what I mean? So it's very traumatizing and it's a normal thing. As she was saying this, I was like, Madam, let me record this. I just opened my phone and started recording, and you hear the voice note at the end of Study of Self-Worth on the track. Self-evaluation of young Denzel. You hear her talk about, you were abandoned. You were a child. You know, she said it. And so with these 2 small pieces of data, you know, when I was in the studio with Odunsi and all these guys, and I'd open my mouth to write, all these songs would just come out of me. And I was like, oh, let me try and finish what I'm seeing. And you know, that album became real to me as I even got older. Even when I was creating it, I didn't even understand what I was saying. It's now that I'm older that I look back at it, I'm like, you know, I'm like, wow. So I just say that to say, like, look, when I was a young artist, I had never thought that African music would become global. That an artist like Kendrick Lamar, who makes really intricate, deep music, would put out music that would now create a world where projects like Young Denzel become gems, you know? And that's the thing about being an artist. Sometimes you're going to create in the dark, you know, and it's just faith and hope you have. And for me, Young Denzel is one of those things for me, you know? And watch that album and see what it becomes, you know? See what it becomes over time, you know? Make the project, guys. Make the project no matter what. Yeah.
I feel like that's actually so insightful because to me, and just coming from, so let's say, a fan and people out there, I feel like it was more of the, I'm M.I, I can put this out and still people are going to listen regardless. But just listening to you now and you just saying, okay, it was more about the creative process and looking into yourself than actually thinking of, okay, yes, they'll listen, don't worry, it's fine. It's
In fact, when I put it out, I was apologetic to people. I'm like, you guys, I know you guys expect M.I.
Yeah.
But even if you guys don't stream this, I feel this is important, you know? And yeah, again, I was taking a beating at that time. Like, honestly, I was taking a beating, like career-wise. You know, I had some impetus about the fact that I was CEO of Chocolate City. We're building, we're going somewhere. I think around that same time was when Coca had 1 or 2 hits. So we're doing okay. Call it work and we're rallying as a label. But, you know, for me, I'm like, I need to have that one in the top, that, you know, but that was the music that came out. And yeah, very, very proud of it, you know.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to talk about mixtapes. So you famously released a bunch of them, your illegal music series. I feel like in 2025, and even just streaming era generally, the mixtape is dead for a number of reasons. I mean, I think litigation, the threat of litigation of using someone else's beats kind of looms large now because everything is so well established. I think also labels are very reticent in that regards. Like we need a chunk of that pie, you know? And I just generally, even listening habits have evolved such that every release that you put out now, the weight of the world is on it as far as expectation from a fan. do you envision a world in which there's every chance that the mixtape will come back? Or do you think there's an alternative that people should be exploring? Because I think we lost a lot with that creative outlet not really existing anymore. People can't really experiment like they used to back. And they'll just try stuff, you know?
That's so powerful. Sometimes the question is the answer. And I think that's what you just did now.
Okay.
Yeah, I like, what can I add to that question? You know?
Yikes. My bad.
My bad.
I think the question should just stay. It's a question. Have we lost something with how numbers and perfection focused we are now? You know, where artists could just hop on a track and try, you know, and put out that trial to the world and get support for the attempt. Yeah, I think sometimes the question is the answer.
Fair.
Yeah.
We can move on from that one. So there's a song on Young Denzel, which is on Plus Minus with Odunsi and Donley. And there's an excerpt from that I really found interesting, is where you say, I have been through it recently where people say, you know, you were really good before, but what happened? And it's almost like you're going insane because people are so sure of their opinions. Now, people always say that you shouldn't care what other people think. They don't care about external validation, but I think it's crap because, like, we're wired to care. You have to care. But I think the more interesting aspect of that is how you filter it. You know, like, that's the most important trait to have. How do you filter this thing 7 years on? Because Young Denzel is 2018, this is 2025. So how does the 2025 version of M.I filter through those types of talks?
Yeah, I think, so this is my opinion. And I want to say so. It's just my opinion.
Okay.
My opinion is that actually becoming an adult is recentering who you get validation from. And it's not easy. Easier said than done. But to me, that's the task of growing up. It's like when I was a younger artist, what is important to me when I start making an album is already set by the audience. So it's like, you know, the conversation we're having about Declan Rice, and, you know, it's like, that's what determines what grade is. But your job is to becoming an adult is realizing that you get to set that metric, not the world. And the world gets to set their own metric. You know what I mean? But if you follow the world's metric, you will not be happy. The only way you will be really deeply satisfied is if you are very clear on yourself, what am I trying to achieve? And then you go for those metrics and you achieve that. And I feel I'm much more formed in that perspective today. You know, it's taken a lot of, like, as you said, like being human, then becoming famous is like living in the middle of validation and surviving on validation, you know, being validated, being propped up. You are you're number one. Look at your crowd. Look at your, you know, and it becomes that. But why do rich people and why do artists go get into depression? Just like somebody that nothing is happening for in life, because the kid that's watching you is like, well, what are you doing to get this? That doesn't impress me. Like your 5-year-old is like, okay, that's not what I wanted to do at all.
Yeah.
I wanted to be creative. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have deep friendships. I wanted to really fall in love and be happy, you know? And the further you are away from that inner thing, the more unsettled you are as a person. And so the journey to really maturing is coming back to yourself. So I'm 43 now. I'm on my way to be 44. And I feel like I'm finally at a place or I'm getting there, where now I can reflect and say, what's important here? And then I go for that. And if everybody's like, in fact, it's sometimes even better. You know what I mean? Because now I know what it's like to be popular and have everybody be jealous of you.
Yeah.
Now I know what it's like to be wealthy in a country where there's mass poverty. You know, there's some things that I don't even want anymore that I thought I wanted when I was a young person. You know, for instance, I love the fact that as I get older, I'm getting some of my anonymity back. you know? Like, every human being, it's a right God gave us to be anonymous in different places, to just go somewhere and sit down and be quiet.
Yeah.
And that gets stripped from you completely. Wherever you go, the people are, you're in conversation, immediately you walk in the place, oh, this person.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, and then they're not even talking to the real you.
Yeah.
They're talking to an image that you've created.
The commodity.
You know, the commodity, your commoditized self.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I want to be myself. I want to go places where the things I want to achieve can be achieved through spending time there, you know? So yeah, I think I encourage people that have that, they can feel that cognitive, like, it's something, like, should I care about people's validation or my, you know, like, keep working on strengthening yourself, because it's really your own opinion that matters. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, let's talk about a song that made lots of waves at the time it was released. You rappers should fix up your lives. At the time, it felt like a rallying cry. Like you are calling people. It's like you are calling people out, like, directly. You are challenging the state of rap. With lines like, rappers are singing now, just get popular. I just be watching like I'm at the opera. But watching over the years since that song has been released, I get the sense that your stance has evolved. You don't seem as strict about what it takes, what it means to be a rapper anymore, in that purest sense anymore. So how do you feel about that song and that moment now in hindsight? And what would you say like has changed in your mindset around it? Do you still feel as strongly as you did at the time?
You know, to be honest with you, I really recorded that song with a very pure heart. That's why I put it on your study of self. Very, very pure heart. I was even, if you know me, I'm prone to be more like soft with my words and more like what people call political. Like, I won't really take the jab. You know what I mean? But if you go listen to You Rappers of Lives, I say like, you should be slapped in your mouth. And the reason I was saying so was because I was like, if I'm a rapper and M.I comes like, rappers, we need to stand up, it's not going to be the same as if M.I says, what the F are you doing? Look at you. To fear. You know what I mean? It will hit differently.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know?
Yeah.
And you have to think about what that time was for hip hop. There was so much going on. They were just talking crazy about us. And we were not performing at the highest level. We were really trying to be popular. The conversation was about popularity and fame. And like, I ran into Odumodu once and he was like, M.I, you rappers should fix up your life, got me here. You know? And I was like, yeah, there's so many rappers that tell me that was the moment where they were like, M.I, Abi, you know, okay now. So many rappers dissed me back, and that's how our relationship began. Like Alpha Genie and I became close through that. Many people I met. In fact, I knew that as soon as I put it out, I was going to hear a lot of great rappers.
Yeah.
And that is exactly how I made a lot of like relationships in the rap community for that generation through that song. And yeah, I had a pure heart doing it. And I'm very proud of hip hop today. Like, you look at the genre, you know, this is what I was saying. There's narrative and there's reality, and you have to be able to know the difference.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, arguably the biggest artist in the country today is a rapper.
Who's
Odumodu.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
He's on the list.
Yeah.
Why I say arguably is that you have to forget the narrative. You have to ask yourself what really makes the biggest artist, and then use those things and assess the big artists today. And that's why I'm saying, arguably, right now, based on the statistics, you know, if you look over 5 years or 4 years, there are some artists that rise to the top.
Yeah.
You know, but if you take it as a snapshot right now, who are the guys that are doing it right now? Arguably, Odumodu is at the top of the list.
I agree, actually.
Then,
Of course you agree.
there's Black, there's Fouls, there's Poe, there's AQ just put out an album where he's rapping crazy. There is SDC, there is you go to like, there's this two rappers in Abuja, President Zeke and Hot Eyes. Oh, Malagata Sapakara. If you guys hear their project, I heard a project recently, Alpha Genie played for me. It's like, you know, but the genre, even when M.I Jagz, they were still saying, rap.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, I always say rap is like the stepchild. It's like, go get A's, straight A's, and come back home. But people are still going to be like, we're happy for you now, you're getting A's. So if we didn't bring you to our family, would you have, you know, it's sort of like that.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
We're the guys that have a chip on our shoulder.
Yeah.
We're the people that are probably the most emotional genre. And yeah.
Awesome.
Keep doubting us.
Something I wanted to ask as well, another fanboy question. There's this running joke on Twitter, like Kendrick be copying your homework, you know? So I think on, and I say that half jokingly, but like with Chairman, they had that, you had that motif of duality on the track list with the names. He had that on Damn. There was Young Denzel, which is like a whole album inspired by therapy and self-examination. And years later, you had Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. You also had like a spiritual psychology guru and Corinne Solomon, I think her name was, and then Eckhart Tolle for Kendrick. So is that something you've ever thought about? I just want to know, how do you view it? You know, like how do you see that?
No, it's not. In fact, the worst one is CKay.
Talk to me.
It's not as obvious to people, but funny, we were in the car with me when I was screaming the other day. Like, our release plan for The Wolf was to drop them in 2 packs, 3 packs. And I just saw that Kanye just did the same thing. And I was like, my whole career, every time I am like, this is what I'm going to do. Kanye, like, 3 months to it, will just be like, I have this idea, blah, 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 blah.
But hopefully not his recent behavior.
Not those words. I mean, of course, like, how I look at that is that as he's shared, he has a thorn in his flesh.
Yeah.
That we have to view his behavior through as well. There is no excuse for some of the things. I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. I think he's crossed the line so many times, but I'm just talking from a creative perspective. You know, I really feel like there is a higher,
The collective unconscious type thing.
Yeah, that all of you are tapped into. Some people are tapped into.
Some people tap into.
Yeah.
And but look, African artists, please don't ever make a mistake to think that the work you're doing is not being observed and it's not channeled into other people out there. And last to say, like, I would love to work with Kendrick.
Awesome. That'd be amazing.
Okay, so I like that you mentioned the wolf. If you can just assist me to straighten your shit.
Hey.
I wanted to do it for you, but I didn't want to do it. I don't think maybe I'm trying to take power from him. So maybe I'll allow you to do it yourself. But so just going to, of course, your upcoming project, Word on the Street. And on the street, I mean, everybody knows. Is that... is that it means whatever occurs, look forward, which, I mean, is a very powerful sentiment, especially from everything you've been saying, to be honest. I feel like this is almost like a full circle moment where if everyone actually listens and then comes to see what the wolf actually means, you're like, okay, like, just me listening to you, I can get a better, shall I say, idea of where you're going to. And apart from that, you've also now spoken about trying to release it in packs. And I'm like, oh my God, wolf packs. Like, who is this guy? Like, oh my day. Like, I said, I was just here like, mind blown. Like,
buy this man a cold stout.
Cold style. You know me. Like, mortuary standard. But the fact that you're even now connecting it to the animal itself, I just want you to put more light on it because, of course, you've already given us a few hints here and there. So just please help us break it down.
Let's start from the animal.
Yeah.
So my last 2 bodies of work ago, I called myself the lion. This is coming off of the Viper energy, that whole thing. I put out a project called Judah. And the first song is called The Lion. And a few years, like a year later, I saw a video where there was a dog that had started learning human words, really intelligent dog, and it could ask questions, and it asked a question, what am I? And they said, you're a dog. And it got into depression. It was on Twitter, it went around.
Oh, I saw it.
You saw that?
I think it was Bunny. The dog's name is Bunny.
Yeah, you saw that, right?
It's a TikTok thing, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And the dog got And it just occurred to me like, wow, could you think you were something and be wrong? Like this dog was probably thinking I'm a member of the family. This dog was like, my name is Billy. And then they're like, you're the dog. It's like, what? Depression straight. And now the reason why I'm saying so, because at the time in my life, I was not in my lion state anymore. I've left my job. I'm no longer the CEO of Chocolate City. I'm working on something. It's very difficult, and, it's just not where I'm just not on the mountaintop as I was, Now let's say I'm in the valley. And that idea stuck with me as I was recording music. And then I started reading more and I learned about wolves. And I was like, why did I ever want to call myself a lion? Like lions are, pardon me to say this, lions are shitbags. Like, first of all, lions are lazy.
Yeah.
The male is like everything, like if you think this like men as scum conversation, like if you are a lion, that's the men as scum conversation we're talking about. He kills his sons when they get old enough. Like, yeah, when the lions
challenge them.
When they in fact they're constantly in a debate of male lions are always grappling for pride. If I kill the head of a pride, I kill all his seed, and then I sleep with all the women in the pride, and then I can't get old because my own son can raise up and kill me and kill all my seed. This is lions. Now there's wolves. One partner their whole life, loyal to the pack. They collaborate in the ecosystem. So in the wilderness, packs give each other territory and they stay.
Yeah.
The alpha stays behind. So the young, strong are in front, they lead the pack. The old, the children are in the middle, and the baddest guy stays behind and follows. They're clean, they're disciplined. I'm like, how come in every story the wolf is the bad guy? How did this happen? Like, if you're a human being and you're observing the two animals, now every dog is a descendant of wolves.
Yeah.
So not only are wolves amazing, their children are our best friend.
Yeah. Fair.
How did this happen that in every story wolves became the bad guy? And the metaphor became the world that I was seeing through. And to humans everywhere, whatever occurs, look forward.
Fire.
It's the album. It actually is the soundtrack to a story, right? The story of immediately after Adam and Eve left the garden. There were animals everywhere. Adam decided that he's going to do an election for the animals. The animals can pick a leader, and the humans will pick a leader. So he said Cain and Abel to do their election, and the animals to pick. And the election ended up being between, Cain and Abel on one side, and the wolf and the lion. And what eventually occurred with so many characters, so many people that played a role. These stories have now come and been misinterpreted over time, like the story of the three pigs and the wolf, Little Red Riding Hood. But the real story became clear to me. And so the wolf is actually the story. It's actually the music. It's actually the philosophy. It actually is what we're saying is a new form of art, And I'm going to come back to something I know we were speaking about at the beginning. People ask me, when is it dropping? I'm like, we've already started. We've already started talking about to humans everywhere, whatever occurs, look forward. And on my page, I talk directly to artists. I'm like, look, I don't even know, but if you're Nigerian, I know. Keep going, don't give up. That is as much as part of this album as the music that people are going to listen to, and that's what I mean. And I can't wait to share with the world. I do want to put it out in sequence so people can understand the story and enjoy the story, because I think every chapter, like, let me tell you, chapter 1. So the night that Adam had eaten the fruit, God had said, if you eat the fruit, you surely die. So the angel of death came to earth. See, unknown to you guys, nobody knows this, but the angel of death came to earth and it was him and the wolf that fought that day. So the reason life still exists is because the wolf fought off the angel of death. And the reason why we have the myth about werewolves is because the angel of death, as he was leaving, said, on every full moon, you shall be invincible to the wolf. But you cannot tell anybody about it. So this is how the story starts.
Okay.
You know? And as we go into chapter by chapter, everything has a meaning, a story. And I do want people to embed in it, because this is what I mean about my art now. Like, my life is not just, or my art is not just in the lyrics. It's in how I explain to you why I wrote it. It's in the videos that I will see and say, yes, this reminds me of how I felt. It's in how another artist would listen to it and be like, this inspires me. All of that is part of the art. And we're trying to find we created a genre called African superhero theme music, which is the collection of everything. Now, the last thing I want to say is a technical thing to all the artists that are out there. What I've discovered is that most streaming apps don't want you to put out an album at once. It doesn't work for their algorithms, because in one payment cycle, people listen to 20 songs. And so you're just fractionalizing the payment. Whereas if you drop them one after the other, 1 month you listen to one song, next month you listen to another song, it's better for the app. It's like keep playing over and over. It's like a game that you keep coming back to if you look at an app that way. And so also in doing this, I can say so to people, but I really feel like it's a better way to put out music. Like, we do these, I'll just use like AQ's project, for instance, that just came out. I was listening to a song called Class of 66 yesterday, and it's so intricate, but there are also like 9 other songs that are out as well, or 10 other songs. So at the same time, you have, we were listening to all in this moment, where maybe we can take a month and be in the story of this, and then move to the next track and be in the story of that, and take the next track and be in the story of that, and take the next track and be in the story of that. And I think that that's a better way, and I want to live it and put out my art in that way. I know for fans out there, the conversation is a little bit like, oh, what's going on? Is what we want. No vex. Is what we want, and we want to take our time and tell the story. And truly, the story of the wolf actually is already been written into some. If you go back and listen to some of my like Illegal Music 3, you hear wolves howling. When I was making this album, I was like, wow, it's like I've been writing this project my whole life, contributing to it. And to me, I said it's my magnus opus, because I feel now I've lived enough that the art can be deep enough for me to, when I was talk about it, it's like, just listen to the music. This is a young guy, he just has opinions. But now, it's a world, it's an experience, it's the tour performance, it's the merch, it's my philosophy, it's how I see the world. I want to help the world realize that this life is probably potentially going to treat you like the way that the world has treated the wolf. It can change your story. It can twist it upside down. You can be a good person and everybody say you're bad. But whatever occurs, look forward and keep moving.
Awesome. So we have 2 more questions, quick fire questions. The first one is, we have this segment called Build a Rapper, right? So I'll list a couple traits, and you tell me which Nigerian rapper, past or present, best fits each one. First one, flow.
Barry Lane, he has like a Kendricky flow. To me, that's, if I were to pick somebody.
Interesting.
Wow.
You just listen to his flow and you're like,
I love that.
this is a joke.
That is
I
so
like that.
interesting.
That was out of the way.
Rap is my thing. I'll pick people that way you listen, you'll be like,
fair.
Yeah. So flow, for him. Yeah.
Okay, what about rap voice?
Rap voice. There are so many great people, but I'm going to pick my brother Jesse Jagz.
Okay.
There are some songs that when Jesse's just talking, it feels like, when I see he's my younger brother, but I did lower my head to the emperor, because some songs, you go listen to that Nation Come, he's just talking, his voice is like, but there are many people. Odumodu, I think, is up there. I love Nado's voice. There are many people.
Awesome.
Versatility.
Versatility. I'm trying to think of someone else so that I don't put the person who I think is an obvious person here. But I think probably one of the most versatile artists this is not just Nigerian artists. This is like globally versatile is Olamide.
I knew you were going to say Olamide, literally.
I like my respect for Olamide is okay. So first of all, when I see Olamide, and I'm not as close to him, but I see a man who tries to live the right way. First of all, and I have deep respect for him for that. He tries to do things the right way. In an industry where you can be terrible, you are like a legend, you have so much money, but even if you were to take all that away, right? My respect for his creativity, for the things that his mind, like when people would explain to me things that Olamide would say, I came in the game with Dagreen, so it took me a long time to be like, I was just, Dagreen had like legendary status in my eyes. But to be honest, even with as great as I hold Dagreen in my heart, like Olamide surpassed that, like in terms of what he's done with that language and how he just explains hip hop and he would go into English. Like most people that are really good in a language and rap, crossing over, even some of the greats, into English and being able to like go at like an MI level, but the guys.
Fair.
I feel very justified because we were speaking about him as I spoke about him tonight. So we thank God.
Yeah.
Birds of the same feather.
Charisma.
I would say obviously Odumodu right now.
Fair enough.
Odumodu, charisma god. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Charisma god. He's like, infectious.
Okay.
What about stage presence and performance?
Stage presence. I don't want to repeat. So, stage presence. I'm trying to think about my whole time. You know what? I'm going to give a mention to. I'm going to give this to SDC, but not in the way people might interpret it. Like SDC created a world, a vibe with their live. Their live ecosystem has become larger than. It's become a genre in its own. And it's not even about it's not like you see Tech and Ghost on stage jumping around or doing that. Yeah. It's just that they're themselves. They believed in themselves. They believed in their sound, and now it's found a global community. And everybody can celebrate in that, like real live music. They spit their bars. Their fans know them. So for me, I think that's the pinnacle of what you can achieve as a rapper.
Awesome.
SDC.
Lastly, lyricism or like wordplay.
So I'm not picking myself here. So lyricism, there's so many, but I'm gonna pick my bro Loose Cannon. Loose Cannon once told me a long time ago when we were both young artists starting out. He was like, if you give 20 words to every rapper, and you tell them come up with a sentence, most of them will come up with the same sentence. But there'll be one guy that will come up with a sentence that will make the other 9 go, eh. And that's his perspective. And I invite you to go listen to his catalog through that lens, but there are many, in fact, some of these categories you put, I go put myself on top of. But there are many people there, and but I'll pick Loose. I mean, right by him, truly, I gotta put Boogie, Boogie. He said, anybody better than me, put your hands up. I don't see no hands, so I guess I'm the best, hands down. Like,
fire.
Do you know what I mean? It's so simple, but it's so intricate at the same time.
Awesome. Well, we've come to the end of this episode. I'm sad because I'm going to be here for hours.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. You think this was refreshing for you? It's refreshing for us because I think in the midst, and that's the beauty about music as well, you discuss music, but it has all these different tentacles that spread through like other areas of life. So in speaking about music, you learn about yourself, you learn about people, you learn about life. And we thank you for imparting that wisdom. And thanks to you guys for getting to the end of another episode. This has been super fun. Per usual, if you're trying to get in contact with us, you know how to at With an S Pod on all social media. Use the hashtag With an S Pod, and we'll get back to you if you have any comments. And also rate us on all the DSPs that you listen to your podcasts on, because it helps us get in front of the people that we're trying to get in front of. We're signing out from Deji,
Dami,
Bola, and
M.I Abaga.
Peace.
bye.